Hey guys, what's up? This is currently my first ever video. Going into this YouTube channel, I was like, I want to mix my two favorite things to do in my free time, and that is playing Souls games by From Software and reading Reddit stories. So that's what I'm here today. In the background, you guys can see me playing Dark Souls 1. I'm currently doing a Souls Level 1 challenge, which means that I picked the wrench class, and once I start, I can't level up. All my souls either go to buying stuff or just buying new weapons or upgrading them. So let's get into it. And today I have a couple Reddit stories for you guys, so hope you guys stay tuned and enjoy it. Okay, for the first story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex to stop giving my daughter lunch money? I have a daughter, Emily, 16F, with my ex. She chose to live with my ex and his wife and the kids the majority of the time because she has to share her room with her stepsister Lauren, 15, at my house. My ex gives Emily $25 a week to buy lunch. Emily and Lauren's school is down the street from a lot of restaurants, so instead of buying school lunches, she leaves campus to buy herself and her friends lunch. Okay, what a kind person. The problem is she sees Lauren at school and won't give her anything, even though she gets her friends lunch all the time. I talked to Emily about it, and she said that it's because her friends pay her back and Lauren can't. Emily knows that we cannot afford to give Lauren that kind of money, and that she works part-time and gets an extra allowance from her dad. So I asked her to occasionally buy Lauren lunch to make her feel better, but she refused. Not looking good. I called her dad and hoped that as a parent he would understand what I was trying to do, but he said Lauren's feelings are not his or Emily's responsibility, and that if she wants to buy lunch off campus, she should get a part-time job like Emily. I tried to explain that Lauren is in school and has ADHD and depression, so it would be very hard for her to work, but he said that that's my husband's problem and hung up. Lauren came back home crying the other day because Emily came back with food from her favorite restaurant and didn't give her anything to offer or share. So I called my ex and told him that he needs to stop giving Emily lunch money and have her make her own lunches because she was hurting Lauren. He refused to listen to me and told Emily that I'm telling him to not go out at lunch because of Lauren, and Emily hasn't spoken to me to say that she was going to stay at her dad's full-time for a while. Am I the a-hole? Okay, personally, I really do think that you are kind of the a-hole here, because I feel like it's not like Lauren isn't come to school like without a lunch. She's just kind of like a pre-made lunch, right? And realistically, $25 a week isn't that much. It's probably like a lunch or two. Like that's probably lunch for like off campus for like 1 to 2 days, right? So realistically, there's not really like that big of a problem. And also, Emily doesn't really owe Lauren anything. Since she has like no like relation to her, pretty much, except like their step siblings, right? So I think in the end, you are kind of the a-hole here, but I do understand where you're coming from. Like you see your kid like struggling because she can't like go off campus and like get all these like foods in these restaurants because obviously you guys are in a tougher financial spot. But at the end of the day, you really can't force Emily to just give up her own lunch money or her own weekly allowance to buy Lauren food, and just not get the money back, right? Because compared to her friends, right, her friends do pay her back. But at the end of the day, you are kind of the a-hole, but I do respect and understand where you're coming from. Okay, for the next story. Am I the a-hole for breaking my neighbor's laptop? Already a horrible start, but let's get into it. Throwaway account so I can't be traced. 36F, was at a neighborhood barbecue that I already didn't want to attend to because my neighbor, early 20F, was hosting it, is always talking about her adopted kids. During the barbecue, my neighbor was doing a Kahoot on her laptop for my kids. My child was playing. The laptop was 11 Lenovo ThinkPad. Ooh, I don't know why I struggled there. That was probably older than her and is on his way out anyways. Important. I actually think that I heard her saying that she needed a new one. Already, it seems like you're trying to like justify yourself for breaking this, so already you're the a-hole here. Anyway, during the Kahoot of one of her adopted kids snuck away and grabbed the watermelon that I brought. The child was repeatedly talking to his friends about throwing the watermelon off the balcony. Obviously, I intended to bring the fruit for consumption, so when I went to take it back and there was a struggle, I overpowered him and put the watermelon back. He cried for a few minutes, but then went back inside. Afterwards, my child got third in Kahoot, but then there was a prize for first and second place, which happened to go both to her child. Okay, let me say that again. Which happened to go to both of her children. Why didn't third place get one? Anyway, I went to confront my neighbor to ask if she could just get something out of her house and say it's a third place trophy. She acted completely unreasonable and asked why don't I get him one myself, as if it isn't her Kahoot. During the argument, her adopted child was driving around the house in one of those small motorized four-wheelers, which distracted me, and I spilled my drink and spilled right on her small toddler, which she was holding right next to my drink and her ThinkPad, and I was saying about 90% of it was on the kid. About 30 minutes later, she told me that her laptop wouldn't turn on. I asked her if she bought the warranty, and she said that she had not my problem, and insisted I pay for half of the new one. Am I the a-hole for inadvertently spilling the drink, for slipping it or spilling it on the exclusive? Oh, sorry. Am I the a-hole for spilling the drink, or ISTA for excluding my child? Holy, that was a tongue twister. Okay, I do think you're the a-hole here. Already from the beginning paragraph, you're trying to justify like yourself, like, for breaking the laptop, because like you're trying to say, oh, it wasn't really important, it's really old, and like you're like, I think I heard her saying one. Like, already from the first paragraph, you're trying to justify yourself for breaking the laptop. So already you're kind of the a-hole here, and it just gets worse overall. Obviously, it is kind of weird that only first and second place gets only a surprise, because usually it's first, second, third. But like, it's not to the point to where you're gonna upset it. From what you're saying, it seems like you're more upset that your kid didn't get a prize than your actual kid is. Because once again, this is probably just a small cahoot, right? So I really do think you're the a-hole here. And also, you didn't mean to spill the drink, but like, you still spilled the drink on her computer, on her laptop. So I really do think you're justified in at least paying half. It's not like she's asking to pay for all of it, because I feel like if that happened to me, I'm probably asking to pay for all of it, because even though it's old, you still broke my laptop out of frustration because your kid didn't get a prize. And from how your kid how your kid sounds, I don't really think he cares too much about it, because once again, this is just a barbecue. I promise you the next day he's not going to be crying saying I didn't get a prize, right? So at the end of the day, I really do think you're the a-hole here, because like, I guess you can argue that they did exclude your child, but like, she also argues that you just spilled a drink on her laptop. So realistically, I really do think you're the a-hole here, and just pay up half of it. I think it's just better for the community if you just pay up half of it, so that you're not in like a constant war with this lady, because you just broke her laptop and now you're refusing to pay for it. Okay, for the next story, let's get into it. Am I the a-hole for grounding my daughter? Already 50-50 title, but let's get into it. For context, I compare. We have 50-50 custody. So my daughter, 11, failed not one, but 2 classes. Okay, I can kind of see where you're coming from here. When school was finished, now earlier in the school year, me and her mom sat her down and explained that she cannot fail any more classes if she wants to continue to do cheer. These last 2 months, she got all her grades up beside 2. So once again, we spoke with her and said, hey, these grades have to come out. So school finishes, and those 2 grades, she has a F in one and a D in another. So because of this, I took her out of cheer. After I took her out of cheer, she tried to say it was the teacher's fault that she failed. But when looking at her grades for those classes, most of them came from tests and homework, which were mostly Fs, and a few good grades sprinkled in. So I explained to her that teachers cannot fail you if you're doing the work correctly. So her mom is on our daughter's side of this and saying the teacher and whatever. Okay, that's just poor grammar. I think what he's trying to say is, so my wife is on my daughter's side, saying that the teacher is in the wrong here. I feel like that makes more sense. So because of this, I took her out of cheer. She blocked my phone number on her phone. So in retaliation, I suspended her phone line. I paid the bill for her phone, so her mom goes out of the way and buys our daughter a new phone. Now they're trying to blame me, saying I wasn't helping her with the homework. To be fair, I did take the blame in, mostly due to the time I worked. I work a swing shift job, so never home when my daughter's out of school. I mostly hang out with her on the weekends and Monday afternoons, since I'm off Saturday to Monday. However, her mom is home by 4 p.m. the latest, and since the majority of the week with her. But yes, somehow I'm being blamed for the bad grade. So that's just the beginning. More has happened since then, but it's a basic part of the story. So am I the a-hole? Personally, I do think you are kind of a-hole here. Like, as a father, I understand that the mom also plays responsibility as this, but like, everything just kept escalating. Number one, you could have at least like first helped her with it. From what you're telling me right here, you just told her, hey, get your grades up or I'm gonna take you out of cheer. You never really like helped her with it. You never really gave her like the ability or the coping mechanisms to help her like unfail these grades. Because I feel like because you see, she started getting all her grades up except the two, right? So I feel like at that point, you should have sat her down and really helped her with each homework and assignment. And as you said, that she's failing the test and homework, right? So I feel like at some point, right, you're off Saturday to Monday. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you take Saturday off, and you take all Sunday to go over her homework and make sure that she fully understands it or help her with it, right? It looks like, from my perspective, you're just telling her to do better without giving her any like steps to do better. So you are kind of ill here, and it just gets even worse because you just blocked her phone line. I don't know why we're doing this. Like, I feel like that's just a kiddie move. You're the adult here, and you're trying to punish, like overly punish your kid for pretty much no reason here. Obviously, your kid blocks you out of anger, right? Instead of relaxing, because you're an adult here, and realize, okay, my kid obviously still loves me, but she's just mad and she blocked me. Instead of taking that time to relax and just wait, because I promise in a couple of days she would have unblocked you, and you guys would have probably found a good solution to this problem. You just blocked her phone line. So I understand why the mom is on her side, because pretty much she sees you escalating it pretty much. The whole situation, realistically, this whole situation could have been stopped like right away if you just decide to like be more mature, not escalate the situation. You pretty much got into a pissing match with your 11-year-old daughter. So in the end, yes, you are the asshole here. And if I'm in your situation, what I would do is first help her with her grades. Obviously, if it's sorry, we know that she's trying because like she got all her other grades up. So it's not like that she's just not trying, right? It's obvious that she's really struggling with these two subjects. So instead of just saying, hey, do better, you actually be a better role model and help her do better in those courses. And in return, that she doesn't fail those courses and she still does cheer, and then your whole co-parent situation is good, because now you're pretty much playing 2-on-1 right now, where you're definitely in the fault here, and you're trying to like act like you're not in the fault. So yes, you are the a-hole. Okay, let's get into the final story, and this is definitely the longest. This one seems pretty interesting. This is from Do Rack and Roll. Already kind of a weird name, but he's saying, narrowly avoided being sent to prison for 10 to 20 years for several drug crimes and instead paid minimum fines due to some quick thinking and taking a huge risk. Okay, let's get into it. Late to the party, but when I was in high school and a few years after, my primary source of income was selling pot. Already crazy. One day I was hanging out at home with my girlfriend. We went to the Circle K a few houses down and got some beers. The clerk, who I knew pretty well at this point, asked if he knew where I could get some dub sack, and I said sure, but that's gonna be in the back soon. I go home and forget about it. An hour or two later, I'm like, oh shit, remember? Weigh it out and go back. He had already given me the money. Very, very important detail later. So I waited until he had no more customers, and he came out, and we went around the icebox just smoking and chatting, and I hid in the bag. Okay, just straight drug dealing. Now, there was no one around. Empty lot except for this old beat-up Volvo facing the record store next door. If I had been paying better attention, I may have noticed this Volvo had completely tinted window, which seems completely odd to do on a beat-up Volvo. Two men get out of the car and approach us. One tall, skinny guy wearing 100% denim, and other guy who looks like Dog Bounty Hunter in beige sweater. They approach us and ask how we're doing. Me and clerk look at each other and like, you know these guys? And then all of a sudden, the flashes badge and yell, EPD, you're under arrest, and cuff us, separate us, and search us. Beige dog goes through my texts, finds a couple dubious ones, a few crumpled up 20s, and starts trying to get me to admit to doing a lot of business today, blah, blah, blah. Okay, holy jump. Then to my surprise, by walking by me, my girlfriend, back to my porch, they say they've seen me come around and go, and just want to make sure that I don't have a pound of heroin in there. And then I'll just go and charge me with a misdemeanor. Otherwise, it'll be a jail or felony. So here we go. On my front porch, me saying there's no way I will let them in my house, to call my lawyer over here. At this point, my roommate walks out, says hi, gets in his car and leaves. At this point, Dog explains that if I don't let him search the house, he's going to park a few squads on my lawn, extract everyone from the house, and wait on a warrant, and then they'll charge what they'll find to everyone in the house. I know this is not legal, but I was scared. My roommate that I just left was a total nerd with a great job, straight edge, rarely drank, and never smoked or anything at all. I was terrified of him losing his job. Unfortunately for me, I just had the opportunity to get a quamp of mushrooms at a steal of a deal. My area was super dried up on mushrooms at the time, so I asked around and basically got all my deals set ahead before I got this. This time was perfect because just 30 feet away of the coffee table on my bedroom was 1.5 pounds of mushrooms, neatly weighed out into ounces and 1/8. On top of all of that, there was pot in there too, so it was not looking good. Okay, holy jump! From what I'm seeing right here, the cops are pretty much at his house and they're trying to search his house. So I proposed that I let one of them one of them in to search just my bedroom and be done with it. I knew once I let them in, they could do whatever, but I was just out of options. Beige dog agrees. Canadian Tuck stays with my girlfriend, who looks terrified, like, what the fuck are you doing at me? And the dog, the sweater hunter, enters with me. I lead him upstairs and walk right past my door, which thank God was closed, and into the straight edge guy's room. Dog completely turns it over, takes out drawers, turns over the mattress, the whole shebang. As he does this, I quietly turn off the computer monitor, the background of my roommate and his girlfriend glaring on it. Guy finds nothing, sticks with his agreement, and walks me and his shit-eating grin back downstairs. My girlfriend, probably assuming I'm going to prison for many years, is looking like she's about to die, but I'm just grinning. Guy still fucking charged me with a felony. Then they left. Long story short, paid a lot for a great Addy who was a friend with the prosecutor. Since no money was seen to be exchanged, the charge was knocked down to a delivery of marijuana. The prosecutor recommended the minimum sentence. I paid a $120 fine and did 80 hours community service at the local music venue. I saw tons of shows for free and retired from selling. God, I hope somebody reads this. Okay, it's actually a pretty insane story. So, pretty much summarize this, because I know I just did a lot. I did, like, not skip over points, but I probably could have been a lot more clear. This guy, drug dealer a little bit during high school and a little bit after high school, met up to go meet with a clerk, and he was selling them some drug called Dub Sack. The clerk gave him the money to begin with, right, which was a huge part, right, because when he came back and delivered the drugs, right, there's no exchange of money, which allowed the cops to can't really do much, right, because no money was being exchanged, right, and the cops drove him back to his house and tried to get him to search his room. So they searched the straight edge guy, like the guy with great job's room, right? Because obviously he doesn't drink or he doesn't have anything in him, right? And he tricked him into thinking that that it was his room, right? Which allowed the cop to not find anything, because in his room he had a bunch of mushrooms and a bunch of weed, which would have definitely got him a huge felony, right? So in the end, he pretty much could get away with only $120 fine. But yeah, that's actually a really crazy story. I don't really know what to think about this. I think, to begin with, drug dealing is kind of stupid, but you definitely could have been, like, more aware. I feel like if I'm going to be a drug dealer, I'm going to be, like, looking out for every car, especially out in the open too. Well, they're in the back, but still, if I see a tinted car just standing there and I see somebody in there, I'm obviously not going to keep doing what I'm doing, pretty much. But he definitely got lucky in this situation. But yeah, that is currently all the stories I have for today. I want to thank everybody for spending your time to watch my video, and you can see in the background, I'm slowly making it through Dark Souls 1. Obviously the video qualities will get better, my mic quality will get better, but it's slow improvements, okay? This is my first video ever, and I promise by, like, my 50th video, I'll be a natural bro. So I want to thank you for everyone just for spending your hard-earned time to watch me, or I guess listen to me talk about Red stories, and I hope you guys all have a great day. See ya.